What up, crew? Great to see you here at the card table. I'm your host, Vineet, aka CardMechanic, and in this show, we'll be interviewing magicians, cardists, YouTubers, and more, so stay tuned. In today's show, we're going to be talking to a good friend of mine, James Kiernan, who I've known for a few months now. He is the founder of the Card Inn, which has one of the greatest unboxing experiences out there. He's making waves in the industry, so please give it up for James Kiernan. Hey, James, great having you here at the card table. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So the way I usually like to start these things off is I know a good amount of my audience is probably familiar with you already, but I'd like to have you share a little bit of your story, how you got started with the Card Inn, how you got started in magic or cardistry and things like that.
So I think most people often have like a David Blaine story, or a lot of people often talk about Chris Ramsey, which is partly with me. But strangely, I came across a TED Talk, which for people who aren't familiar, TED Talks are basically, scientists or people who are in academic research who have gone to a public speaking platform, and they basically just share really cool ideas. And I saw a TED Talk about a man who said about something about how magic helps you connect with people. It basically intrigued me, and I just wanted to find out more. So the man he sort of revealed a magic trick. I showed it to my parents, kind of got a bit of a laugh. And I kind of just had this sort of curiosity to sort of find out more. Went onto YouTube, then we find Chris Ramsey, and that's when I got hooked. And this was at a time when I kind of lost my passion at the time, which was coaching football, coaching soccer. I was doing a master's that I hated. So I wasn't doing the work. I had a lot of free time, and then magic became my thing.
So
I then left uni. Sorry. Yeah.
Just a quick question on that. How old were you when you saw that TED Talk? And by the way, this is the first time I've heard of anyone say they got into magic because of a TED Talk. So that's really unique.
Yeah, it's probably quite a rare one. It's quite a complicated story when I try and explain. So this was at the end of 2017. So I had finished an undergrad.
Oh, it's quite recent.
Yeah, pretty recent. So I was 21, a couple months before I was 22.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
So you graduated undergrad in 2017. That's actually the same year that I graduated my undergrad.
Really?
Yep.
What did you study?
I studied electrical and computer engineering. And
wow, it's pretty different from what I did.
And like you, I did not love it too much. I thought I would, and then it was just, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, I think a lot of people they go down that route, because obviously I think a lot of people feel that pressure to study or to get them qualifications, and sometimes it can be not quite how you want it to go. I had a great undergrad. It's just my postgrad I absolutely hated it. But you learn, you learn.
So you finished your postgrad?
I didn't actually. I dropped out. So I discovered magic a couple months into the postgrad. It got to like my final few months. All I had to do was finish a dissertation. I'm not sure if you guys do a similar thing in the States. Just like a research report. But I discovered an entrepreneur called Gary Vee. And he was speaking like directly to me. He had this video about, if you're 22, you're leaving college and you don't know what to do with yourself, watch this video. And he basically started saying that, if you don't know what you want to do, if you're 22, this is a great time because you can now try loads of things. And he basically suggested creating video content around things you're passionate about. And for me, it was magic. It was a new passion of mine. And I just felt this uni thing was it was a waste of time. I had an undergrad already. I knew I wasn't going to go into psychology, which was my postgrad. And I just thought, well, I just need to start doing something, So I created a magic Instagram account, and then I started selling cards on eBay as a little experiment. Time went on. It's getting to about December 2018, and I bought 3 bricks of Nox, and I was like, wow, this is so many cards. And I made an Instagram post, and I said, maybe I should. It's almost as if I've got a shop, and that was my first thinking about going from eBay to a shop. and then it gets to the new year, and every time it's a new year, I'm thinking about more goals than ever. It's just giving me ideas, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should start a shop. Maybe I should start a shop, and I'm thinking, right, New Year's coming, 2019. I am going to start a shop, and I officially launched it in February the 12th, 2019.
Wow. So when you started your Instagram was it exclusively for like Magic and card tricks and things like that, or was it based more around the decks that you had?
Completely Magic. So for the first year and a half of learning Magic, I was super into Magic, and cards was something I sort of did in my spare time.
Gotcha.
But now that's kind of flipped on its head, and I'm all about the carding. And Magic is, sadly, it's just I haven't really been practicing this year. At one point I was super into it. I was like, it's gonna be my career. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And to be honest, I'm more in a stage where I'm actually a bit more interested in learning some cardistry, but I'm still not devoting enough time to even learn cardistry.
It's actually,
yeah, I definitely.
It was similar for me as well. I started Magic with when a friend showed me a card trick at the lunch table, and this was I think in sixth grade for me. So I was I think around 12 years old.
Yeah.
So that's when I originally got started into Magic, and then like I think a few years later, I discovered cardistry, and it's like, oh wow, this just all looks amazing. And then I became more passionate about that as well. But then I always went back and forth. And then I learned I wanted to do more deception at the card table. I saw from Daniel Madison, Richard Turner, and it was like these. I feel like these things require so much more skill. It's just I'm not saying one is better than the other, but this is just something that I was more into. But yeah, it's really nice to have experience from everything. Yeah, go ahead.
The appeal from cardistry, and like I mean, Daniel Madison, he just did a trailer for the Sky Advocates, and he's doing cardistry in it. And when you just see the moves, like you can do it in an instant, and it's fantastic. Obviously, with Magic requires lots of practice, like alone. Maybe you might perform to some friends and family, but your moment with Magic, it often comes when you're performing. Whereas cardistry, you can do it for yourself, you can do it for other people. And it's like instant. Obviously, there are some Magic tricks you can visually do instantly. You can record it, put it on social media. But I think cardistry really, like, the moves are quick. And I think I guess it is magicians. Magicians, they have that awe at first when they don't know how it's done. But a lot of magicians know how it's done. Whereas with cardistry, obviously there's not really a method. It's practice, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how long you've done cardistry. You can still get that like awe because you're always seeing something incredibly skillful up front. Whereas with Magic, you kind of get that. It's just because you know how it's done, or you might have done it yourself. You don't quite have that same. You kind of lose that awe feeling, maybe a little bit.
So for me, Magic was more. The reason why I loved Magic so much is because, again, like you said, you can't really do it by yourself. I mean, in some cases, I guess you can, like you said, if you do a recording yourself, or if you're doing like a cool color change, you could see that immediately. But for me, Magic was all about the other person, like what I guess reactions I can get. I can make them feel in awe and just, I guess, question reality, or just really appreciate what was done. So that's why I got started into Magic, because it was the impact that I had when I first saw a trick. It was I don't know how to do this, and I wanted other people to feel the same way when I showed them a trick.
Magic, it has, and it's kind of like, similar to the reason I clicked on that TED Talk. It was that I was interested because of the connection part, like how is Magic going to connect you with people, and then I discovered, like, similar to how the reason you enjoy Magic is that I realized I could connect with certain people in a way I couldn't before. For instance, I remember, like, I have like a lot of aunties and uncles that I don't see too much. And, you might go to, obviously all families are different, but often we all maybe have that auntie or uncle or cousin that you have your small talk with, but you don't quite get past that. And then I realized there's been occasions with maybe friends, acquaintances, relatives, where by doing a few Magic tricks, it's sort of, I think a lot of people say it lowers people's guards. It allows you to connect with them in a different way. It releases different emotions and stuff. And yeah, Magic is just a fantastic way to connect with people. And I didn't quite expect that when I started performing. And you can do it pretty early. You don't have to be incredible at sleight of hand. You don't have to be an incredible performer. Sometimes the magic, you know, you can just do a self-working trick. Some self-working tricks are miracle makers to some people. So it's a really good, how do I say it? Trade skill set to pick up. And it makes you, if you want to be good at magic, it forces you to really develop yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think before I actually got into magic, I was a lot more reserved and introverted.
Yeah.
Whereas after actually doing tricks for people, I just became, I wouldn't say I'm a super extrovert or anything, but I've become a lot more of a people person because I went through that journey.
Yeah, I think magic can make you go out of your comfort zone. So for me, I know now that because I haven't been performing for the last year, I feel like I've gone back into my shell a little bit more. But I feel that if I was to take next year, obviously, let's say there was no pandemic, let's say I was performing all year, I know that I would get to that next step of confidence because I'm just so used to being with people and taking a little bit of a risk when you don't really want to perform to that table or that, you know, that those two people. It can definitely make you more confident. I mean, especially if your magic's good and the reactions are good.
Yeah.
It can be really beneficial to your how do I say it? Yeah, your self development, your self confidence,
self-image,
things like that.
Yeah,
self-image.
Definitely. So I actually want to take a step back real quick. So you had mentioned that when you made the switch from selling on eBay to selling to having your own website selling at the Card Inn, what I guess pushed you to make that switch? Was it that you weren't like, why would you switch from I guess a third-party website to your own? Like, what really pushed you over the edge?
So one of the bad things about eBay is that for every sale you make, eBay will take 10%, and then PayPal will take roughly 3%, and then they add an extra 30 pence, 40 cents to it. So if your order is on the lower side, that plus 30 pence actually becomes quite big. Whereas if you have a big order, it's irrelevant. But anyway, any order on eBay that you get, you are losing between 13 to 15% roughly.
Right.
And when you sell cards, a lot of the time you're not making that much anyway. So, you know, and I was just selling cards as an experiment. And I just thought, well, it's not getting me much. It's not getting me too much. And anyway, you're kind of limited because it's based on people searching for those cards on eBay. Whereas I knew from listening to Gary Vee, he's an entrepreneur, he works in marketing, media. He's like a social media guru as well. And he was speaking about creating content, building a brand on social media, how you can really build a brand on social media by talking about things you like, you know, cards, magic. And I knew from listening to him, and I did a couple of jobs as a social media intern, and I could tell that if I was just to start an Instagram page, I would be able to reach a lot more people than on eBay. So it's basically, one, because of the costs of eBay, and two, I knew I could reach more people on through Instagram, Facebook, and three, just sort of, well, it is a community there, you know. I was in the magic community-ish before, but obviously the more I've gone into TCI, I've realized there's a card community, and I didn't quite realize that before. And I've met some really cool people. Like, obviously, when I was posting magic, I knew some cool magicians, but now I've immersed myself in Instagram. There's incredible card brands, whether they're resellers, they create their own cards. Collectors, just personalities, you know, deck reviewers, YouTubers such as yourself, you know. I remember I actually watched one of your cardistry tutorials. I think it was Lego Love.
Oh, nice.
And you just discover things. So yeah, great decision that I made. And it's, yeah, very enjoyable. So
I gotta say, I was very shocked that you got Daniel Madison to do one of your videos. Like that just blew my mind. How did you pull that off?
I was shocked as well. So a great thing about that story is that exactly 1 year before, I mentioned that Instagram post about I had the knocks and I said, oh, maybe I should start a shop.
Yeah.
Literally 1 year on to the day, Daniel Madison made that video for me. And the reason why I think that's significant is because that year before was just a thought in my head. Maybe I'll start a shop. Should I start a shop? And I think that's really important because it's a thought. I paid attention to it. I decided to, take that step.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people think, they think of the negatives. What would happen if I did this? What would happen if I start a shop? What if it fails? Oh, what if I reached out to Daniel Madison and he ignored me? Or, people think a lot about the negatives. But, I did it. And then a year on, even though my first year was extremely quiet in terms of business, that happened. And I think that's just a really important thing for people who are like scared to try. So I like to bring that moment up. But again, sort of on that note, I started a YouTube channel days before that, literally days. I did a few videos on my personal channel.
Yeah.
Really bad videos, really bad videos, just me talking for 20 minutes. And then I thought that was my personal account. And then about 5 months later, I was like, all right, I need to start a card-in YouTube channel. And I got a guy called Kevin Booth, who's a magician, YouTuber as well. He did my first video because I wasn't going to do the videos. I said, I'm just going to get people in and do it. I'll do the intro. The guests can come on and do a video. And I did an intro video and I said, I'm going to get Kevin Booth on. I'm going to get this person on, that person. And I posted it to Instagram and I used the hashtag Daniel Madison. And he must have seen it. I think that must be the only way he would have seen it. But there is let me see what's in my picture right now. Oh, this is cool. So there's that. I reckon he must have seen it because of that. But also, if you can see my screen, right over there, there's a Madison Rounders deck. Obviously, you probably can't see it.
I see it like it's on like the top right-hand corner.
Yeah. It's just a white deck with a spade on it, and that's a Madison Rounders deck. And that's actually a signed deck from Madison. And my first ever customer, someone called Alan, he got me this incredible gift. He managed to get me a signed deck by Daniel Madison. And actually, I'll actually try and see if I can show you. But I mean, this might be mirrored. I'm not sure, but
it looks good.
Alan managed to get Madison to sign it. It says, "For James, mad respect for the card in." And that was just a crazy gift to me because obviously not only did he put my name on it, he mentioned the card in. And that was just like that was an incredible touch. And I'm so thankful to Alan for that. So obviously Daniel Madison, through Alan, a customer of mine and a friend, he must have known of the card in. Alan must have said something like, "Oh yeah, sometimes I get my cards from the card in." Then there was the video I put up. I used the hashtag Daniel Madison. And then he reached out to me, just emailed me. He said, would it be okay if he did a video for my channel? And obviously he said yes. Yeah, you can do a video for my channel. No problem. And that's that. He said, what would you like me to do it on? And I said, it'd be great if you could do something to do with maybe like theory, magic theory or something like sort of like personal development based, something like that. And he did a video about one of his tattoos, which translate, I think it's Latin, and it translates to by any means necessary. And he was speaking about how, in magic, you need to entertain your audience. You need to, I think he used a certain word, not amaze, but there was a different word for it, but by any means necessary. Doesn't matter what the method is, you need to leave your audience with something like truly magical. And that's that. And yeah, amazing. That was, what a day. That made my year. That made my year.
Yeah, it's crazy how just these like little things that you don't realize just add up, and then just something huge happens like that.
And one of the crazy things was, I remember talking to my friends who aren't in the card community, and I was saying to them, was just saying, we're just talking about social media, branding, business, whatever. And I was trying to say to him, like, I'd seen things in the card community and Magic, and I was saying to my friend that, people are more accessible than you think. Obviously, not everyone. Not, if you just DM Chris Ramsey, he's not necessarily going to respond. But or David Blaine. But sometimes people are more accessible than you think, and this is an example of it. And I just remember, because I remember I had to tell my friend, I said, Rich, I was telling about this the other day about people being accessible, and then of course I got to tell him about that moment. But yeah,
wow.
If anyone ever thinks about doing a collab with someone, or you don't know if it's possible or not, and I think there's no harm in trying, because you've literally got nothing to lose.
Yeah. And it's the same exact thing for how I grew my channel, because there's some pretty big YouTubers. I'm not sure if you've heard of A Million Card Tricks or MLT Magic Tricks.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I reached out to him, I had less than 1,000 subscribers. And I'm like, okay, well, I have nothing to lose. I might as well email them. I tell them how much I respect the work that they've done, and I guess what I want to achieve with my channel. And like almost all of them replied back, which was incredible. And I was so grateful. I did not think that would actually happen, but it happened.
And the good thing about the card community and the Magic community as well, is that it's not the biggest industry. It's not as if you're reaching out to the top CEOs of clothing brands or in music, or not like you're reaching out to rock stars. Obviously, in our industry, there's people with great followings and who have created lots of value. But Chris Ramsey even said it the other day. Like, he says, like, he might not reply, but he actually does look through his DMs. Not necessarily all of them, but there's a chance that you've said something and he's read it.
Yep, I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that in one of his Instagram stories. I remember 100%. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just shoot your shot, and that just applies to life in general. Just shoot your shot.
100%. So let me ask you this. So from the moment you started the card in, could you share some of your biggest struggles that you had, and then maybe some that you were able to overcome, and some victories that you had as well?
Yes. So year one, my biggest struggle was to sell playing cards. And I like talking about this because I have this big thing about not believing in natural talent. I know many people believe in natural talent. People believe in overnight successes. And I can honestly, hand on heart, say I have never been naturally talented at anything. Anything that I've become remotely good at is taking me quite a lot of time. And TCI, my first year, it was really, really quiet. And I also didn't even have much money to begin with. I kind of just wanted to start a shop, and I have no business background, no business experience. I was just trying something. I had no idea where it's going to go, whatever. And for the first, I think, February, March, April, I had less than 10 orders every single month, which is not a lot at all. And then even halfway through the year, I was doing internships, and then I had to look for new work, and I was out of work for a couple months. I even almost essentially ran out of money, like as in money to invest.
Right.
At some point. So in May and June, I wasn't selling anything. You know what I mean? My shop was just there. It had like 15 decks. It was like an abandoned warehouse. There was just nothing, no life there. Then thankfully, sort of, it picked up a little bit around August, September, October last year. And I just started posting on social media a little bit more. I had an internship as a social media intern, and it really didn't work out. And it kind of like motivated, because they weren't happy with what I was doing with my social media. And that kind of gave me a little bit more motivation, and obviously a bit more free time to prove myself. And I started posting like every single day. I was doing like 10 stories a day on my TCI Insta. And I was starting to get a few more results. You know, my website views were going up every month. My orders were going from like 7 orders a month to 15, and then it was going from 15 to 30 towards the end of the year.
Wow.
And these little victories and these little milestones I was breaking every single month, it was just starting to give me a bit of confidence. So that entire, you know, for a lot of people to go in almost an entire year with no financial return or just not much happening, that can be quite disheartening. But it's like I said, I've never been naturally talented. I've always been accustomed to slowly getting good at things, and it was getting better, just at a slow rate. So 2020 was around, and like I said last time, when a new year comes, I get really excited. I plan lots of goals. I plan goals throughout the whole year, but obviously a new year is just extra. It's extra motivating. Right. And I was looking at my packaging. I had these like brown padded envelopes. I was sending decks abroad that were getting damaged, and I was like, I was learning the ropes of just selling things, and obviously I was starting to learn that people don't like dings on their cards, which as a magician, that wasn't really a thing for me. But then I started learning from a collector's standpoint. Right. And the new year was approaching. I was on Instagram paying attention, and I was seeing people doing unboxing videos, and I was just looking at people having a physical box. They open it, they take the bubble wrap out. There was stickers, there was thank you notes, there was, I don't know, maybe like a magnet inside. And I just remember like people doing unboxing videos. And then I looked at my own packaging in these crumpled envelopes, and my thank you notes were on piece of paper, just like a piece of paper, just like this. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so this is, I need to change something here. And then February 12th, 2020, I planned a relaunch, and I called it TCI relaunch. I changed my website. I created the TCI unboxing experience. For not the first time, maybe like the second, third time I started doing influencer outreach, I sent a package to Kier Gomes. I sent another package to Kevin. I sent a package to Caitlin Chen, Katie Morris. I sent a package out to a few photographers. I was like, right, I'm gonna try and build some awareness, change the website, because my first website was really bad, really bad. And yeah, then the unboxing came. So all those things packed into one. I relaunched it on February the 12th this year. Went really hard on the social media, sent it out to creators, launched it, and that's when things really started to change. That was a huge victory for me that day. So to put into perspective, February the 12th this year, I made more orders that month in February than I did in the whole of January. Which, to be honest, it still wasn't loads of orders. It wasn't like, for me, it was loads. But in general, it wasn't loads. But I just remember thinking, wow, okay, so there is another level here. And thankfully, as the months went on, March, April, May, June, they all just started to just hit new levels every single time. And whilst, you know, my store's still not big, you know, it's still not like, it's still performance-wise, it might not be anywhere near other stores in the UK, but I know from my standards and from my past statistics, this year has absolutely destroyed last year, and it's even destroyed February, you know, what I'm doing now. So I just keep looking at my stats from previous months and just thinking, how can I do it better? And also just trying to have fun in the process as well.
Nice. I mean, I really got a lot from you sharing this. So I definitely agree. I think work ethic definitely beats talent any day, especially if talent does not have work ethic.
Yes,
and I think you've definitely proven that with everything that you've put together. So
thank you.
So I know you also told me that you work along with running running TCI. So yes. How difficult is the balance between your actual work and then what you're doing with TCI?
So to be honest, right now, well, there's been a few stages. So in September last year, I took on about maybe 5 days work a week part-time, but it had quite a lot of travel time. So it sort of almost felt like full-time. So I used to do like an hour a day after work, hour, 2 hours, and it was fine because TCI was just going from crickets to actually doing a few orders a week. So that was fine. However, things started to pick up around about February time, and I asked my boss if I could take one extra day off, just so I could work a bit more on TCI.
Right.
That got me down to maybe like 4 days a week, and maybe like 25 hours a week. So right now it's actually pretty manageable, because it's kind of like I like to do a lot of TCI stuff in my spare time anyway. Sometimes when I haven't got any TCI stuff to do, I'm sort of thinking like, what am I going to do with myself? But I'm not. I'm not a workaholic. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination. I think I get distracted very easily. So when something could be done in 1 hour, it probably takes me 2 hours. It's just like the way I am. So when I'm not doing TCI stuff, I like watching card videos and just browsing my TCI Instagram anyway, So it's definitely manageable. If I had a full-time job, like if I had a 40-hour-a-week job, it would be a different story. Because I was doing 40 hours about a year and a half ago. That was the last time I was doing 40 hours, and I'd come home from that, and I just wanted to sit down and do nothing. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say because TCI wasn't really doing anything back then.
Gotcha.
I didn't have much motivation. So, but yeah, like obviously, ideally, I would love to be able to go full time running TCI. I have plans to create a second brand. And then ideally, I'd maybe do some sort of work collaborating with people in the card community. Like the perfect example is Keir Gomes. I believe he works for Pure Imagination. And obviously recently has linked up with Alex Pandrea, House of Playing Cards. Like that would be incredible to get a job. Like that's not something you'd even think is possible. Getting a job in the card industry, you know what I mean? It's not like you can go onto a jobs website and find House of Playing Cards. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
Doing something similar to that would be great. But yeah, just in short, to answer your question, part-time, as I'm doing part-time work, the balance is quite easy. But if it was full-time, it would definitely be a challenge for sure.
I think one thing that I like that you mentioned is that sometimes people confuse, I know for me at least, sometimes people confuse you working on your brand, on your business as being a workaholic. But especially when you kind of integrate it into your lifestyle, like for example, going onto Instagram and posting anyway, I think it really just becomes part of who you are. So it doesn't really feel like you're working. It just feels like you're doing what a normal person would do. But I mean, it is work that you're doing at the end of the day. But it's something that you enjoy doing.
Definitely, because sometimes, like someone asked me recently, they said, "How many hours do you think you work a day?" And I think to myself, like, cool, like, do I even do any work? Because it's kind of like when I'm doing packaging, that feels like work, that feels like work. But in the same time, I kind of think, well, that's just something I have to do anyway. It doesn't always feel like obviously I imagine for yourself and me slightly editing a video, that's work. It takes time.
Oh yeah,
you have
for
to
sure.
make it really good. But when I'm posting things on Instagram, like I'm talking about cards or whatever, it doesn't feel like I'm doing work. You know what I mean? Maybe if someone asked me to do it for their company, it'd feel like work. But I think like sometimes when it's your own thing, it's just you want to build your brand. You want to achieve what you want to achieve. So it doesn't necessarily feel like work. It just feels like you just have to do it.
Exactly. So that leaves me asking, can you share some, I guess, insights on starting your own card company, or what are the biggest myths that people might have, or some mistakes that people might make when starting a store? Yeah.
So what I like to make clear is that like I can only speak from my own experience, and like I was saying this to someone the other day, like if someone asks me advice for starting a business, I can only tell them from my experience. I'm not necessarily an expert. But one thing I would say in our community, branding is crucial, and I would say being part of the community is crucial as well. Like I learned from Gary Vee. He had a book called The Thank You Economy, and he basically speaks about customer service, not just customer service, but treat it's not that I'm not a customer, but like treat these people like they're your friends, or you care about these people, because like I learned from Gary Vee that it's really important to respond to as many comments as possible, respond to as many DMs as possible, and I think that really helps. That really helps me with TCI, is that I pretty much respond to every DM I get. Like, I don't get tons of DMs, but sometimes it takes me 2 days to respond to a DM, but I always try. If someone comes in with that first query, or if someone just wants to chat, I always try and reply like at least once, bare minimum. Like, the only time I flat out blank someone is if it's like a copy and paste Kickstarter promotion sort of thing.
Right.
Or someone tells me to send them a deck, I'm not necessarily gonna respond. Not gonna respond to that, but I sometimes I see people want to grow their social media, but they're not even interacting with the people in their comment section who are already. And now I'm not saying I reply to every single comment. Like, I try to, but I try and do as much as I possibly can. And so like, it's social media is crucial for your business. Like, there's a lot of like TCI is nothing special, but there are brands who are more established than me who neglect the social media. And they might be happy with their business the way it is, but some of the bigger brands, because they're at the top already, they don't quite capitalize on social media, because it's free reach, it's free interaction. So I think that's quite important. I think it's important to I think it's really important to make mistakes. Like, I'm making mistakes all the time, and I've been making quite a big mistake all year that my actual current employer helped me realize, because obviously, he owns his own business. And it's when you make the mistakes, it's kind of like you're just realizing. It doesn't matter when you realize it, but you're going to realize it, and it's going to help you make a change. So I think it's really important to be honest with yourself. Hold yourself to high standards. Like, in my first month of TCI, I was like, I want to have 50 orders this month, and obviously I didn't get anywhere near that. But it's good to aim. Elon Musk said a really good. I don't really follow Elon Musk, but he did a good quote, and he said that if you have a 10-year plan, you should try and achieve it in 6 months, because not that you're going to achieve it, you won't achieve it, but if you try and condense this extremely long-term vision into something really small, you're just going to take faster actions. And obviously this is context dependent, but like, let's say take TCI, for example. I could plan to take TCI somewhere in 3 years, but if I reduce that to 6 months, I might work harder, I might step out of my comfort zone, I might make more video content, and it might sort of get me along the way quicker, or take better actions. So
now that you actually say that, I actually did something similar without realizing it. I think that's a fantastic quote. So for me, my goal for 2020 was to get 20K subscribers in 2020, and currently I just got to 8K, I think, a few days ago or something. And
congrats.
Thank you. And 20K just seems completely unreasonable. But I mean, it's still, like you said, it's really great to strive for it, because I set that goal, I am working much harder to get there. So I think that's a really really great point that you brought up.
Definitely, and if you'd say it for like 5K, you might have been going at a slower rate, because I'm only 1,000 away now. So, but if it's quite out of reach, you still need to really like go for it and grab it. So you're going to take that like that bigger action, and that's what I'm doing now. Like, I achieved my 2020 goal in February, and I realized, because my goal at the start of 2020, it wasn't ambitious enough. It was because I lacked confidence in going forward. Then I achieved it in February with the relaunch, and I was like, right, now I need to do this again. And that's what I did at university as well, because I always like failed school, and I did really bad in my like in England we have GCSEs and A levels. I think you guys, I'm not sure what you guys call it in the States, but it's your pre-college, pre-university exams. I did bad in all of them. I even did bad in my first year of uni college, but then I had one amazing grade at the end. And as soon as I got the amazing grade, I was like, right, this flips the game. I now every grade has to be this minimum, like a 70, 60, whatever. And that mindset can really, it changes your behavior, it can change your habits. And obviously your habits is what forms how you act on a day-to-day basis. So like, be ambitious, I think sometimes just set yourself a ridiculous goal. And you might just get a little bit further than if you set a safe
mediocre
goal or like a medium goal,
That's actually funny you brought that up. When I started in college here as well, my first year was terrible. Out of a 4.0, I had a 2.2 GPA, which was horrible. And it was the same thing for me. So it was like, okay, well, this is clearly not what I want. So it was always about, I guess, setting a standard and going above and beyond. Yeah. And it was the same thing for me. By I think maybe about a year and a half later, I started getting a much higher, like a 3.7, 3.8 GPA out of 4. So it's always just been about setting a standard and I guess growing past it.
Yeah, standard is a good word. Like setting a standard for yourself, and a future standard. Like a future self. Like it is an interesting thing. I saw. I don't know if you keep up with Decking Around, the podcast.
I've seen like one or two. I've seen I think about half of your podcast, and sure. I think I saw some of Alex Pandreas, but that's about it.
Pandrea is a great example because I think it's Tyler. He must do these. He does these really good bios for everyone. And I saw Alex Pandrea's bio. And it's like award-winning magician, entrepreneur, 10 years, knock brand, and he's got he's just got this huge bio of things he's done. And when I see things, and Dan Buck or Dave Buck from Art of Play, they have the same one. Art of Play, 15 years. Iconic in taking cardistry to where it is, and I'd see these things that they've achieved, and I think I think of like what is my current bio. Obviously, like I started TCI a year ago, and I do a little bit of magic. And when I think, okay, what would I want that bio to look like in like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And then I literally wrote out where I wanted TCI to be, where I wanted maybe my magic, probably not magic anymore, but where I wanted this to be, and I think that's like it can be quite motivated. And I think like that'd be good for anyone, right? Like a future self. Imagine like a little bio. What would your bio say in 10 years? If set like a goal for yourself, set a ridiculous one. Like your goal might be like, right, I want, in 1 year I want 1 million subs or something, something crazy, something crazy like that. And it's just like people can experiment, have fun with it, and let's see where people can take it.
Dude, I love that you brought that up. I'm actually gonna do that for myself. A 10-year future bio. I love that idea. I'm actually gonna note it down right now. Just gonna write it down.
Great.
Future bio, 10 years. Yeah, I really love that idea.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks so much for sharing that. That's awesome. So speaking of the future, I just want to wind down with this last topic. So I've seen some of your videos, and I saw that you have a lot of great stuff coming up for TCI, including a new unboxing experience, or like an unboxing experience upgrade, along with providing some, I guess, new mystery decks. So could you speak or share a little bit about that?
So I'll say the mystery decks first. I always sort of turned away from mystery decks because pretty much everybody in the industry does something extremely similar. Although in recent months, I have seen a few people do something different. There's a brand called Checkerhold. I think it's called Checkerhold. And they do something crazy. They get a bag and they actually put, they have a theme. Like I think they have presidents or something on it, or maybe it's something like that. And I thought, okay, that's cool. That's something a little bit different. I've seen a few brands, Art of Play, obviously they do really nice paper, like a wax seal and stuff like that. But I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be, people are, doing similar things. And what I want TCI to be, it's never going to be the biggest UK store. It's never going to be a huge store. But I want it to be different, and I want to be creative. And I'm gonna create mystery decks around about maybe February, maybe March, sometime like that. And I want to call it something different. It's gonna be similar to mystery decks. I just want to call it something different, so it's that it's just different to everybody else. And like the unboxing experience, the mystery decks will receive its own unboxing experience. And I want to add like some sort of story or theme to it, and make a huge deal out of it. Because I don't have the rarest decks in the world, so it will be a good selection. It's not going to be like 50 different Fontaines or all at once. But I want to put a real good deal into the packaging. Like I want to make the mystery decks packaging better than the current unboxing experience. That's kind of the goal with the mystery decks.
I mean, honestly, I have to say, I love the unboxing experience. I know you sent me the small package, and thank you so much for that, by the way. And
No
I just love that unboxing experience. At least from the sites that I have bought here, I have not had an unboxing experience like you gave. So I think that really sets you apart from everyone else, and I think that's just that's amazing.
There's a cardist in the community. He's a guy called Chris Liu, and he asked me a video for my Q&A. It was like end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and he said, "What sets TCI apart from other brands?" And at the time, I answered honestly, and I said, "Well, not much. You know what I mean? Like I post on social media more, or maybe I have a YouTube channel. There's not much that TCI does differently. And by doing that unboxing experience, I then put myself in a position where TCI as a brand does something different to other people, and it segues good into the sort of upgrades to the unboxing experience. I'm not going to say too much because I'm basically working on something. I'm trying to construct something, but I don't know if it's going to work. So there's lots of logistics I need to work out. I'm probably going to do it anyway to trial it, and if it fails, it fails. Hopefully, I see TCI going for the foreseeable future, so it's I'm in no rush to. There's no like time limits and stuff like that. So I'm going to, but basically next year people can expect to see the unboxing experience is going to go up a level. In terms of the package design, it's going to be different. And I can't say too much about giving it away, but basically there's going to be a bit of choice involved, and there's going to be some things that are available to some people. There's basically going to be, let's say right now the current unboxing is the standard version. I'm essentially looking to create a premium version alongside it.
Nice.
But I need to think if it's gonna work. But it's basically gonna create a lot more. It's gonna be a lot more creative, because I get really inspired by certain brands outside the card community, or I get inspired by brands in the card community who are creating their own decks. Like I look at the Instagram, it's all about them, their brand. Like OPC is a great example. Like I don't personally collect their decks, but I admire what they do. Like the OPC passport.
Yeah, that was genius. Really genius idea.
Exactly, it's genius. Like, and it's just great. Like their photography is great. The avocados video they did for their new deck with the cardist, the messages they put inside it. What they have a shop. I can't remember what it's called. The Organic Market. This whole branding, I love it so much, and their whole Instagram is full of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like for me as a reseller at TCI, all my photography is wholesale images. Like obviously OPC have their own images. It goes to Murphy's. I get it from Murphy's. I use the images. So my Instagram, I'm obviously promoting these decks, but it's nothing really to do with TCI. We're selling other people's stuff. And the only unique images and stuff I have comes from my own photos of the unboxing experience. I can take excerpts from my own YouTube videos, but basically when you look at the TCI grid, there's nothing that stands out as uniquely TCI. And I think with creating this new unboxing experience for next year, my grid will be able to look a lot more like TCI. It's going to have a lot more of our own imagery, videos, and so obviously we're still going to be using other people's photography for decks of cards, but hopefully it's going to be a bit more that TCI is bringing to the table. I think that's one of the challenges as a reseller. Resellers, we're middlemen. We don't quite have the leverage that the actual creators have, like OPC. People can be a fan of TCI, but we resell the cards. We're convenient, like we have all the decks, we put it in one place.
Yeah.
But we're not necessarily creating too much. And that's what I look forward to doing, maybe creating a bit much. And that's why I'm excited to create my own cards, create a second brand, because then everything I post is mine. It's our brand, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like it feels like my own thing, and that's the strength of, people like yourself, YouTubers, people who are doing deck reviews, like everything they're posting is it's about them. It's their own videos and photos and yeah.
I think, that's, you actually brought up a really good point. So I definitely agree. I think everyone should always strive for having something that they own, like their own brand, their own personality, or their own content, their own ideas. And I think that's really important. And that's pretty much what I strive to do with my YouTube channel as well. How can I build my own brand that's different from everyone else, but also still provide a ton of value? And I think it's always, and like you said, with your unboxing experience upgrade, you're not exactly sure how it's gonna play out. But again, as you mentioned with the mistakes, sometimes you just got to make mistakes and go for it.
Definitely. And it's part of it's part of how I want TCI to look, and it kind of goes back to that like bio thing. Like I want TCI to become known as like the unboxing brand when it comes to playing cards. Like I want it to be a premium unbox, like, because right now the unboxing experience is good, but there's not many people in our industry that are doing unboxing experiences. If you look to other industries, let's say clothing, or I don't know, I see like stationary subscription boxes. There's many industries where they all have incredible packaging and they don't really make a big deal of their unboxing experience, because in the industry, everyone has one, or most people have one. So, when I look at the TCI one, I can look at it and say, it's standard, it's not special, it's decent, it's good, I'm not going to knock it, but it can be a level above. And I want TCI to be like a premium unboxing brand. And I want when the word unboxing or like gift wrap or like nice packaging comes to someone's mind, like TCI will be in that bubble, so that's basically one of the ambitions.
Well, I really admire how clearly you have your goals set in front of you on what you want to accomplish. Because I know there's so many people that are just like, okay, well, I want to become big. Okay, well, what does that mean? So it's really great to see that you have established what you want to achieve, and you're really on the path of getting there. So I guess,
thankfully, go ahead.
No, I was just going to move on to the next question. Go ahead if you have more to add.
Thankfully, look, people, there's this whole thing of like luck versus making your own luck. And I've been blessed to come across some really, really influential people. Like for instance, the TED Talk. In a way, it was lucky. In a way, it was lucky I came across it, but I was searching out for it. You know what I mean? But I'm very fortunate I came across the TED Talk. Changed my life.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful and fortunate I came across Gary Vee. That put me on the path to selling. And he's an incredible entrepreneur. I've learned so much from him. And then, it's fortunate I see things on Instagram and it gives me huge motivation, inspiration. Sorry, inspiration. Gives me ideas, since uni, my last year at uni, 2017, my undergrad, best year of my life, incredibly social, just a great time. I've actually struggled, especially the year after uni. I really struggled socially, that transition to not seeing my friends, and that's actually been difficult. Transitioning into full-time work, not knowing career, but all of that stuff has actually, I've spent a lot of time by myself, not seeing friends, and whilst that is hard, it has actually helped me a lot with my brand, because it gives me a lot of time to sit down, reflect. You know,
Yeah.
like if I had a busy social life, I wouldn't be out here getting as much done, you know. And yeah, so obviously I have
Yeah.
ideas, but the work then has to go in to actually, like, you know, like make it happen. So
Of course.
yeah.
So I just want to wind down with one last question. What are you most excited about for the future of TCI?
It's not necessarily TCI, but I'm excited to, in terms of, so I see myself as having a career in the playing card industry, and that involves TCI, turning it into a luxury unboxing brand, creating TCI branded playing cards. I want to be a creator, but before I create cards with TCI, I'm actually looking to create a second brand where I create my own cards. That's not actually linked. It's not actually linked, so it's not going to be it's not going to be TCI branded. It's just going to be a completely new idea and concept, and I'm really excited by it because it's like I get to start again in a way. And I'm obviously it's all my own creation. So it's like I said about the TCI Instagram grid. It's not necessarily, when you look at it, you wouldn't know it's a TCI grid. If the bio was cut, you would never know. You wouldn't know that was TCI unless they had my face on it from an Instagram live. But when I create this second brand, it's going to be all about that brand, you know, and it's going to be, I get to be as, because I think if I have one strength, it's ideas, even if most of them are bad, you know. I always have ideas about stuff, and it's really exciting to think about these ideas and just think what it could be. So yeah, it's reselling can be fun, but I think creating cards, you know, and like when I see people like OPC, and so obviously I can't think of off the top of my head, but I see people I see people creating cards and doing really cool stuff. And I have a huge admiration for it. I really want to contribute my own thing, you know. So that's the exciting thing for me.
Awesome, and I love I love that you mentioned this. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. Yes, about the ideas. Yeah, like as you said, people get tons of ideas all the time, and it's usually just one or two ideas that you really need. Like 90% are probably going to fail, but you just need just one or two good ideas, and that's about it. And then you just you know, hit the ground running.
Yeah, and just write everything down. Like write everything down, because I feel like it can be like a fire. You know what I mean? Like you catch fire to something, and then all of a sudden it can really like turn into like a serious like a blaze. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's how ideas can be sometimes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So I keep a notebook with me right here. This pretty much has all my ideas and whatnot in here. So anytime I'm just sitting or just, and I remember Daniel Madison actually saying this in one of his videos, just keep a notebook by your bedside. And every time you get an idea, I remember just waking up one time like, oh, I have this genius idea for a deck.
Yeah.
And then I just,
I actually know the video you're speaking about, because I should have mentioned, obviously you know, I collabed with him one time, but like I mentioned like Gary Vee. Daniel Madison is also like a huge influence for me, because of his artistic, creative style. You know, like I look up to that, and yeah, he mentions that as well. I think post-it notes are good because it's you obviously a book is great because you're keeping track on the pages, but a post-it note is like there. You can hang it up. A whiteboard is great as well. So yeah, man, but yeah, definitely writing down ideas. Just putting what's in here, get it somewhere, you know. It's great.
Definitely. So yeah, I just want to wind this down. Do you have any final thoughts or things you want to leave with?
I think I've probably spoken enough. To be honest, I don't want to speak too much. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed. You know, speaking about cards and stuff, and chatting with you. It's a shame we live 7, 9, 10 hours away, because we could have a coffee or something sometime.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks again, James. It was really great having you here at the card table. And for everyone watching,
Thanks so much for having me.
For everyone watching, thanks so much. Make sure you go and check out James. I'll put the link to his YouTube and Instagram and his website down in the description below. Definitely make sure to check him out, and I'll see you next time at the card table. Now, as promised, James was gracious enough to do a giveaway, so here it is. Okay, I think you use this tool as well, the Wheel of Names, to pick your giveaway winners.
I do, yeah. I love the little cheer they do once at the end. It makes me laugh.
Yes. I didn't expect it the first time, and I had my AirPods in, and it just blew up in my ear. Like, it's a bit much. Yeah. So I selected these people based on. So what I had done was I had made a giveaway video. What day? Today's Sunday. I made a giveaway video 2 days ago, and I told everyone to comment hashtag TCI in order to get an entry on here. So I got a decent number of people who participated in that, and that's pretty much where I got that from. So let me shuffle up these names.
Cool.
Now, when you usually do a giveaway, do you do like one test run, or do you just go for it?
I just shuffle and then I go.
Okay, so we'll just do that. We're just gonna shuffle a few times, and then we'll go for it. Here we go. Nice.
Sergio Aguero.
Sergio Aguero. Crazy. Congrats. If Sergio, if you're watching this, congratulations. If not, then I will figure out a way to reach out to you, and we'll get everything arranged. Congrats again to the giveaway winner. Make sure you leave a comment down below or send me an email so we can get your prize to you. And that's all we got. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time at the card table.